Too many people are sitting on the sidelines of life, waiting for something to happen, waiting for the right time, waiting for the perfect conditions, waiting for someone to believe in them. But let me tell you something today. Life does not reward those who wait. Life rewards the bold. Boldness is not recklessness. Boldness is not arrogance. Boldness is the decision to move forward in faith when everything around you says, stay still. Fear is a liar. Fear tells you that failure is final. Fear tells you that you're not enough. Fear tells you that you need more time, more resources, more education, more approval. But faith says move. Faith says build. Faith says speak. Faith says start. Faith is the language of bold people. And when you start speaking the language of faith, doors that were locked start opening. The reason most people aren't bold isn't because they're incapable. It's because they're unclear. You cannot move with confidence towards something you haven't clearly defined. You've got to know what you want. You've got to see it so clearly in your mind that hesitation becomes impossible. Because when vision is clear, decisions are easy. And when decisions are easy, boldness becomes your default setting. Bold people don't waste time wondering what if. They live in the power of what's next. And hear me, boldness doesn't wait for perfection. It moves anyway. Excuses are expensive. Every time you delay action with an excuse, you're making a down payment on regret. You say, I'm not ready. But readiness is a lie the enemy uses to keep you in procrastination. You say, I'm not qualified. But qualifications come from experience. And experience only comes when you start. The people you admire, the ones who are living lives of impact, influence, and income, they weren't ready either. They just moved, and life responded. Boldness isn't about having all the answers. It's about making the decision anyway. Some of you are one bold decision away from a new destiny, one uncomfortable conversation, one product launch, one book, one investment, one yes when everything in your past told you no. Boldness is not a feeling, it's a decision. And that decision rewires your destiny. The world doesn't pay you for who you are, it pays you for what you produce. And bold people produce. Bold people create value. Bold people don't beg for opportunity, they bring opportunity with them. You've got something in you right now that can solve a problem. But the problem is you're waiting for permission to release it. Stop waiting. Choose yourself. Put your value in the marketplace. People are not waiting for someone perfect. They're waiting for someone bold enough to solve a real problem. When you move with boldness that's aligned with purpose, you activate something spiritual. You are not walking alone. Heaven backs the bold. When your heart is in the right place and your intention is to serve, impact, and grow, doors that no man can shut start flying open. Favor flows in the direction of action. Boldness isn't just practical, it's spiritual, it's divine alignment, it's supernatural agreement. So don't let this world tame you. Don't let average talk you out of extraordinary. Don't let your past rob you of your potential. Rise up, step up, speak up, move forward. Because life, real life, abundant life, meaningful life doesn't show up for the timid. It shows up for the bold. Life rewards the bold, so go be bold. Fear is the invisible chain that holds more people back than failure ever could. It whispers lies in the quiet moments, telling you you're not good enough, you're too late, you're too old, you're too young, you're too inexperienced. Fear is loud when your dream is big and silent when you're playing small. It doesn't show up to protect you, it shows up to paralyze you. And the most dangerous thing about fear is that it sounds reasonable, it sounds logical, it makes you think you're being responsible by hesitating, but hesitation is just fear in disguise. Fear keeps you overthinking, second-guessing, and constantly looking for proof before you take the first step. It makes you look at your limitations instead of your potential. It magnifies obstacles and minimizes your capabilities. And the moment you believe its lies, you shrink. You shrink your vision, you shrink your effort, you shrink your expectation. And when you shrink, life responds accordingly. Because life does not meet you at your potential, it meets you at your level of boldness. But where fear lies, faith multiplies. Faith is not passive belief, it's action rooted in conviction. Faith says, even if I can't see the whole staircase, I'm going to take the first step. Faith is the courage to begin without knowing exactly how it ends. Faith is the belief that if the vision is in you, then the provision is on the way. Faith multiplies your impact, your influence, and your income because it causes you to move in alignment with purpose rather than in reaction to problems. When you act in fear, you survive. But when you act in faith, you thrive. Faith opens doors that fear keeps locked. It brings people, resources, and opportunities into your life that you could never orchestrate on your own. Faith turns effort into elevation, turns risk into reward, turns obstacles into stepping stones. Faith doesn't just move mountains, it moves you. You can either feed your fear or feed your faith, but you can't do both. One will dominate, one will lead, one will decide your future. The question is not whether fear will show up, the question is whether you'll give it authority. And if you refuse to let fear have the final word, then faith will multiply everything you touch. Faith is your invitation to live beyond the boundaries of logic. It is your license to believe for more, become more, and do more. Fear is a liar, but faith is your multiplier. Clarity is power. When you don't know where you're going, every road looks dangerous. Every option looks risky. Every decision feels overwhelming. But the moment you get clear, crystal clear, on what you want, why you want it, and what it will take to get there, something shifts. Confusion drains your energy. Clarity multiplies it. Clarity is the foundation of confidence because confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about knowing what direction you're moving in and why. Most people aren't stuck because they're lazy. They're stuck because they're unclear. They don't have a clear vision, so they can't take clear action. They don't have a defined destination, so every step feels uncertain. But when you have clarity, you stop hesitating. You stop waiting for signs. You stop asking for permission. You start moving like you already know the outcome because your vision becomes more real than your current reality. Clarity removes doubt. It silences distractions. It gives your mind something to lock onto so your energy doesn't scatter in 1,000 directions. You start saying no to good things so you can say yes to the right things. You stop chasing every opportunity and start creating the ones that align with your calling. That's the power of clarity. It filters your decisions so your life becomes intentional instead of accidental. And here's the truth. Clarity isn't found. It's built. You build clarity through action. You don't wait for it. You work for it. You get around people who are clear, who challenge your thinking and sharpen your focus. You get in rooms where the conversations stretch your vision. You invest in your mind, in your skills, in your spirit. The clearer your vision becomes, the bolder your actions will be. Because when you know what's at stake, you stop playing small. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. You don't need to feel more confident. You need to get more focused. Because when you're clear, you move different. You walk into a room with authority. You speak with purpose. You act with conviction. You stop entertaining distractions that don't match your destiny. And people feel that. People follow that. People trust that. Clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates momentum. And momentum changes everything. So if you're feeling stuck, lost, or unsure, don't wait for a breakthrough. Go create clarity and watch your confidence rise to meet it. Excuses are the invisible taxes you pay on unrealized potential. They cost you time, they cost you energy, and they cost you opportunity, but they never give you a return. You can't deposit an excuse into your bank account. You can't build a legacy on explanations. You can't feed your family or fund your future with reasons why you didn't move. Excuses feel safe in the short term, but they're deadly in the long run. They give you comfort now and regret later. People don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they perfect the art of justifying inaction. I don't have enough money. I don't know the right people. It's not the right time. What if it doesn't work? All of those are rehearsed narratives that protect your ego but sabotage your elevation. Excuses are just permission slips you write yourself to stay where you are. And the longer you live in them, the more you normalize mediocrity. Bold people don't make excuses, they make moves. They understand that perfection is a myth and that progress is messy. They'd rather take imperfect action than sit still in polished procrastination. Because every excuse you make delays the result you say you want. And the longer you delay, the more momentum you lose. The world doesn't wait for your comfort. The market doesn't reward your excuses. Only execution gets paid. You can't be a victim and a victor at the same time. You have to choose. Victims focus on what they can't control: economy, politics, competition. Victors focus on what they can control: mindset, decisions, habits, relationships. That's the real separation. Excuses are easy, discipline is hard. But discipline pays dividends. Excuses cost everything and return nothing. And here's the truth. People only make excuses in areas where they haven't fully committed. When you're really committed, you stop explaining and start executing. You find a way. You get creative. You make sacrifices. You stop looking for the easy path and start building the right one. Because when you realize that your future is too valuable to be sold out to an excuse, you'll do what others won't so you can live how others don't. If you want the reward, you have to stop defending the reason you haven't earned it. No more blaming your background. No more waiting for the perfect moment. No more telling yourself stories that keep you small. Excuses are expensive, and you've paid enough. It's time to rise above your reasons. It's time to trade your excuses for execution. Because only action pays. Only effort compounds, and only results matter. Your entire life can change with one decision. Not 10, not 100, just one. One bold, uncomfortable, faithful decision can reroute your destiny forever. And the truth is, most people don't miss out on success because they're not capable. They miss it because they avoid the decision that would change everything. They stay stuck in neutral, waiting for a sign, hoping for a miracle, praying for change, while the power to shift their future is sitting in their own hands. We often overestimate how much time we need and underestimate how powerful one decision can be. One decision to leave what's familiar, one decision to invest in yourself, one decision to forgive and let go, one decision to start the business, launch the idea, speak the truth, move forward. One decision can open doors that were invisible until you moved. The problem is decisions require courage, and courage requires discomfort. Most people would rather stay comfortable in a life they dislike than be uncomfortable pursuing the one they desire. Your destiny is not determined by your past. It's not determined by your circumstances. It's determined by your decisions. And the good news is decisions are free. You don't need permission. You don't need resources to decide. You don't need approval. You just need to choose. And when you choose boldly, you start creating momentum that compounds over time. Destiny doesn't respond to hesitation. It responds to direction. And direction is always the result of a decision. Everything you want is on the other side of a choice you've been avoiding. That's the dividing line between average and extraordinary. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's decision. Some people wait 10 years to make a move they could have made in 10 seconds. And that wait costs them opportunities, relationships, and growth. Meanwhile, the ones who win are not the ones who waited. They're the ones who decided and then figured it out on the way. You don't need a better past, you need a better decision. You don't need every detail, you need direction. And the moment you decide, the universe starts rearranging itself in response to your clarity. That's when mentors show up, resources start appearing, ideas start flowing Why? Because motion activates miracles. So ask yourself, what decision am I avoiding that could unlock a new future? What am I pretending not to know? What would shift if I chose faith over fear, action over analysis, commitment over comfort? You are one decision away from a new destiny. Not someday, not eventually, right now. Choose boldly, choose intentionally, choose powerfully, because everything changes the moment you do. Potential is the promise, but value is the proof. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you're not converting that potential to something tangible, the marketplace won't reward you for it. The world doesn't pay you for what you could do, it pays you for what you deliver. Potential is invisible, value is visible. And until your potential becomes value in action, you're just another hidden talent waiting to be discovered by no one. You got to understand that the marketplace is not emotional, it's transactional. It doesn't care about your intentions, it responds to your execution. It doesn't compensate your dreams, it compensates your delivery. That's why people with less talent often win over people with more talent. Because they move, they build, they launch, they serve, they create value, not just ideas. They stop trying to be perfect and start being productive. They stop rehearsing potential and start producing results. The marketplace has no reward system for waiting. It only rewards contribution. You don't get paid because you have a great idea. You get paid when that idea solves a real problem. The bigger the problem you solve, the greater the value you create. The greater the value, the greater the reward. It's a universal principle, but too many people stay stuck in the lab of potential trying to perfect something before they release it. Meanwhile, someone with half their skill is out in the field changing lives, creating income, and building legacy. You don't need to be the most talented person. You need to be the most valuable person. You need to identify where your gift intersects with someone else's need. That's where wealth is created. That's where impact is born. The marketplace doesn't reward how long you've been preparing. It rewards how well you solve problems, meet needs, deliver results, and create transformation. Potential is what you were born with. Value is what you build. You build it by showing up, by refining your craft, by solving real problems in real time. You build it by being bold enough to bring your offer to the world, knowing it won't be perfect, but trusting it will grow as you grow. That's the mindset that moves people from underpaid to overpaid, from overlooked to in demand. So stop hiding behind potential. Stop hoping someone will discover you. Stop thinking value is something people should just see in you. Make it undeniable. Make it useful. Make it visible. And watch how fast the marketplace responds, because at the end of the day, the marketplace doesn't pay for what you could do. It pays for what you actually do that makes it different. There's a power that moves when you decide to move. There's a force greater than logic, greater than skill, greater than strategy, and it shows up when boldness meets purpose. Heaven doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to faith in action. When you step out with boldness, aligned with the calling placed on your life, you're not moving alone. Boldness doesn't just activate results, it activates divine support. That's why some people make a move that looks irrational on paper, but favor follows it, because heaven backs the bold. You weren't created to live small, scared, or silent. You were created to dominate in your assignment. You were designed to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, and to have dominion. But that kind of life doesn't come to the timid. It comes to those who are willing to act on what they can't fully see. Boldness is not confidence in yourself, it's confidence in your calling. It's the belief that if the vision was given to you, but the provision doesn't show up in comfort, it shows up in movement. Faith without works is dead, and works without boldness are weak. You can pray, plan, and prepare all day long, but until you take that step, until you make that call, until you launch that idea, heaven has nothing to multiply. Boldness is the seed. Miracles are the harvest. When you move first, that's when favor accelerates. That's when divine connections start forming. That's when doors that should have been closed fly open, not because you forced it, but because your faith activated it. Boldness is proof that you trust God more than you trust your fears. It says, I may not know all the steps, but I trust the one who ordered them. It says, I'd rather fail in faith than succeed in fear. And when you live like that, when you speak like that, build like that, give like that, there's a supernatural alignment that kicks in. Because you're not just building for your own success, you're building for your assignment. And assignments always come with backing. You don't need everyone to agree with you when heaven has already approved you. You don't need a crowd when you've been called. Boldness separates you from the noise because it's not rooted in ego, it's rooted in obedience. It's not about showing off, it's about showing up where you've been sent. And when you show up prepared and full of faith, you position yourself for supernatural results. Heaven backs the bold, not the arrogant, not the reckless, but those who move with conviction, alignment, and purpose. Those who are willing to risk comfort to walk in calling. So don't shrink, don't stall, don't second guess what's already been spoken into your spirit. Walk with authority, speak with clarity, build with boldness, because the moment you do, you'll discover you're not walking alone. Heaven is walking with you. So here's the truth. Life doesn't reward the hesitant, the excuse makers, or the overly cautious. Life rewards the bold. It rewards those who choose faith over fear, clarity over confusion, action over analysis. It rewards those who stop hiding behind potential and start producing real value. The ones who understand that one powerful decision can change everything. The ones who know that excuses don't pay and that destiny isn't found, it's built. And it's built by those